A woman is driving a car in the rain when reaches a field with donkeys. She gets out of the car and shoots one of the donkeys dead. Then a man named David, in his house, with his brother, who has been turned into a dog talking to some people. David leaves with them for a peculiar place that marks a turning point in his life. A so-called hotel where guests must find a romantic partner within 45 days or be turned into an animal of their choice, just like his brother. Since his wife left him, he's been living alone and decides to move on. Upon checking, he has to answer a series of strange questions and is advised not to keep personal belongings. He has to undergo different restrictions. The hotel operates with strict routines and unsettling rules. Guests are monitored, emotions are discouraged, and masturbation is a punishable offense. He gets a single room initially with the ability to upgrade to a double room if he can find a partner. The maid provides David with a pair of shoes and thongs. In his room, he has all the necessary clothes, accessories, and whatnot during his stay. When he looks outside from the window, several unconscious bodies who wear ponchos are lying on the ground, being captured by the hotel guests who are holding tranquilizers. For every loner captured, they get extra time on their love clock. The hotel manager visits David in his room to advise him about the hotel procedures, and he picked a lobster as an animal that he may have wanted to turn into if he fails to find a partner. His reasoning? Lobsters live for over 100 years and remain fertile their whole lives. Then his right arm is handicapped to the belt of his pants. He should spend 24 hours that way, managing to do other tasks using only one hand. The next morning, David notices 3 women at the breakfast table. The heartless woman who has no emotions, the biscuit woman who is always holding a packet of biscuits, and the nose-bleeding woman. David becomes friends with 2 men, Robert, who speaks with a lisp, and John, who walks with a limp. John speaks up in an assembly, mentioning that his father left his mother for another woman. So, she entered the hotel but couldn't make it and turned into a wolf. She's been sent to the zoo, and once John tried to find his mother there, he got attacked by a few wolves but survived. And that's how he ended up having a limp. Further, he mentions his wife died 6 days before, who had a limp too. Then there are ceremonies where singles attend dances to meet one another. Also, they are encouraged to hunt down rebels known as loners who live deep in the nearby woods. In a ceremony, the biscuit woman is told the heartless woman is the best hunter of all by the nose-bleeding woman when the biscuit woman is refused permission to sit next to her. Then, David invites the nose-bleeding woman to dance with him, and she instructs him on how to wash off the blood stains on his shirt once she notices she has bled on his shirt. Meanwhile, John dances with the biscuit woman and stops for a break, pretending his leg hurts to avoid her. Right after, all the singles are sent for a hunt, and David couldn't capture any loners. So, he doesn't get an extra day. The hotel organizes daily workshops to show the importance of being with a partner rather than being single. Once, the maids demonstrated how a person could survive when he choked while eating with a partner rather than eating alone. In another time, they showed that women are safe walking with a partner, unlike walking alone. The men are only allowed limited physical contact, provided by the maid, just enough to tease, but never to satisfy. One night, David wants to avoid it. He said, "It's awful, can we just not do it today?" But she insists. Since masturbation is prohibited at the hotel, Robert gets caught doing it continuously by the hotel manager. As a punishment, he is forced to put his hand inside a toaster until his fingers are burned. Once, John says he learned about the procedure of transforming people into a particular animal from his uncle, who worked as a waiter at the hotel. As he said, the skin was peeled from the body, and the vital organs were taken out to be reordered as per the chosen animal. Then they throw away the remaining body parts into the casks and donate blood to the city hospitals. The next evening, when they go on the hunt, the biscuit lady sits with David and offers a pack of biscuits to give to the dog. She desperately wants to hitch with David because her stay at the hotel is going to end soon. She says if she can't find a partner soon, she may jump out the window of her room. David is offered to have sex with her anytime he wants. Robert asks his friends to become parrots as he chose the parrot as an animal, so they can be together in the next life, too. John finds it ridiculous, and then it turns into a fight. The nose-bleeding woman swims in the pool, and John tries to impress her by pretending that he has the same problem, a nosebleed. So, she buys it and decides they are a perfect match. Later that night, John shows David how to fake a nosebleed, but David warns that it could backfire if she finds out the truth. But John says having a nosebleed from time to time is better than turning into some animal. So, the couple is upgraded to a double room, and after 2 weeks, successful behavior, they will be transferred to the luxurious yacht for another 2 weeks. And then they are allowed to return to the city as a couple. David tries to reach the nosebleed woman's friend, but it doesn't help. It is her last day, and the nosebleed woman reads a letter to thank her and say sorry at the same time. But the friend slaps the nosebleed woman angrily that leaving her alone and choosing to watch a movie alone before the transformation. The biscuit woman keeps calling David, but he never answers or calls back. One day, David returns from playing golf, and he sees that the biscuit lady is lying on the ground, bleeding and screaming in agony. It happened to be she jumped out of her window. He noticed the heartless woman is watching it emotionlessly. Instead of showing concern, David coldly comments on the whole thing to the heartless woman, trying to prove he's just as emotionless as she is. Then they join in a jacuzzi, and the heartless woman pretends to choke on an olive from her martini. But David does nothing to help her, and she decides they are a good match. They are announced as a couple and move to a big room. She reads at night with the lights on while David chooses to sleep. He mentions that since he's a deep sleeper, lights are fine with him. The next morning, when they go for a walk, they run into the nosebleed couple along with a little girl, as assigned as their daughter. John introduces David to the girl and asks her to kiss him. Instead of accepting, David kicks her in the shin without empathy and says she could limp like her dad. The heartless woman has doubts about David's behavior. One morning, she tells David that she killed his dog by kicking it repeatedly. He sees the blood on her leg and a shoe and pretends he is fine with it. But when he saw the dog, he quietly sobbed inside the bathroom. The woman notices it and slaps him. Then she drags him to the hotel manager to complain about David, but he kicks her and escapes. Then she follows him ruthlessly, and the maid helps him to tranquilize the heartless woman. Then he drags that woman into the transformation room to turn her into an animal, and he tranquilizes the maid to prove that she is just a victim. Then he escapes secretly from the hotel and runs into the woods. That night, he slept under a tree. The next morning, a loner finds David and brings him to their leader. The loner leader welcomes him to the rebellion group and advises him not to have any romantic contact with peers, which may cause him serious punishment. David comes across a man with heavy bandages over his mouth. Curious, he learns about a punishment they call the red kiss, a horrifying consequence for anyone who breaks the no romance rule. The man had his lips sliced off, as did a woman who committed the same offense, and then, as part of the punishment, the two were forced to kiss each other. Even worse is a punishment called the red intercourse. No one says what it is, but the name alone is enough to imagine the horror. During their training, David notices an attractive female loner, the short-sighted woman. Meanwhile, one loner is trapped in an animal trap, and no one helps him. But the leader advises him that if he can manage to free himself, come and join them, or if he bleeds to death, go straight to his grave. The hotel maid secretly meets the loner leader to share the information about the hotel, and the maid's ultimate plan is to become a loner. During loner hunting, Robert encounters David, and David tries to manipulate Robert to avoid shooting. But Robert hesitates, and the short-sighted woman helps to save David's life. She makes him promise not to tell it to anyone and bring her a dead rabbit to pay her back. Finally, these two fall in love secretly. The leader brings loners for weekly trips to the city as couples. David is paired with the short-sighted woman, and they take that chance to behave as a real couple. They go to malls for shopping, eat out, and visit the loner leader's parents as well. Meanwhile, David notices two security guards are checking a lady for dirt in her shoes and under her fingernails. One of them reaches David and asks for an ID certificate, which David doesn't have. Again, his woman saves him when he struggles. David reveals to her that he is short-sighted too. Back in the leader's house, they share their true feelings as a fake couple and get the chance to kiss each other. The leader is impressed by David's behavior on the first day in the city, and they go back to the woods in the rain. One night, the loners disguise themselves as hotel guests and break into the hotel with the maid's help. David chooses to take the yacht where the nosebleed couple live, and there the happy family is having dinner. David reveals that John is faking the nosebleed issue, but no one believes him. Then the little girl offers a knife to her mom to stab David for lying. But John kicks David off the yacht. Meanwhile, the loner leader with the short-sighted woman and a man storm into the hotel manager's room while they are asleep. The hotel manager is tied to a chair and has her mouth closed. The loner leader is pointing a gun at the manager's husband, who is in bed, and asks if he loves his wife and who can manage living without a partner. He answers that he loves his wife deeply, but it is he who can live alone, not she. Then, he is handed a gun to shoot his wife, and he pulls the trigger. It's empty. Then the loners leave the room after chaos occurs between the couple. In the woods, the loners celebrate by dancing, and their leader asks David to dig his grave when he has the chance. David notices one of the loners catches a rabbit for his woman, and she laughs so loudly. So, he gets jealous and tells her not to accept rabbits from other fellas, and he will bring rabbits as many as she wants. He asks whether that man is short-sighted, but she doesn't know about it. So, David goes to test whether man is short-sighted, but when he denies it, David jumps at him and forcefully checks the man's eyes. But that man said the truth. David and his girlfriend learn to synchronize to practice dancing. Then they develop a code language to communicate secretly even in front of others. One of them, they turn their heads to the right to imply, "Watch out, we're in danger." Within a few weeks, they can communicate without opening their mouths. On their next city trip, they visit the leader's house again, and the parents play guitars to please the visitors. But the loner couple exceeds the limits and begins to kiss each other romantically. The leader stops them, saying that they embarrass her in front of her parents. Not only does she have suspicions about the couple and starts to dig into it. In the woods, they are monitored closely. They plan to escape to the city the following day, pretending they have been caught during the hunt. The maid finds a journal and reads it to the leader, not knowing whose it is, but the leader recognizes it is the short-sighted woman's, and it is an escape plan. The leader takes David to a quiet place and tells him to dig a grave. Once it's done, she tells him to lie in it and cover himself with the soil. The next day, she and the maid take the short-sighted woman to the city to get an operation to cure her vision. She gets scared and wants to leave, but the leader insists on staying. However, they have her blinded as the punishment for misbehavior. Back in the woods, the blind woman tries to defend herself with a knife. The leader pushes the maid to the front and is then stabbed by the blind woman. Although the leader pretends to be dead, he gets up once the blind woman calms down and helps her get back to the crew. The blind woman lies about her blindness first to David, but she breaks down to tears and tells him the truth. Then he teaches her to identify objects and helps to improve her other senses. But since their escape plan became a dream and the woman is blind, they don't get more chances to be in love. So, David finally comes up with a new escape plan and shares it with his woman in code language. She is over the moon. Later, David attacks the loner leader in her sleep and ties her up. He throws her in an open grave and leaves her for wild dogs. Then the couple carefully escapes to the city, and they dodge the hotel coach on their way. They finally make it to the city. They sit at a restaurant for a while, staring at each other. David asks the waiter for a steak knife. Then, he walks into the bathroom, and he attempts to blind himself with the knife. He may believe he must be blind to match his woman. Whether he goes through with it, that remains a mystery. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications to watch more videos like this.